And here we are. We are live. I'm trying to look at my mic, make sure it's not too hot. How's everybody doing? Happy Saturday. Welcome. I always look forward to my Saturday live streams. And in fact, I've been thinking about starting a secondary stream during the week to start playing games or something or other. Still in the formative stages, but I do look forward to getting together with y'all, whoever stops by, discussing. If you're new to the stream, we do this every Saturday, 11:30 Eastern Time. We talk about Splinterlands. We talk about Atlas Earth. We talk about basically gaming, primarily play to earn and Web3 type gaming. So I'm open to all that discussion. I don't want to really talk politics or anything like that. Keep that out of the discussion. I know here in the United States we're leading down to the presidential election, but this is about gaming. So I'm always playing a variety of different games. I'm always playing Splinterlands. Atlas Earth is top of mind as well, but I've always got a selection of other games going on too. So whatever you want to talk about, we can go ahead and talk about. Gathering the Magics here says, good morning. Tough day of grinding glint. Hope everyone else is doing better than me, except my opponents, of course. You know what? I noticed on that tip, I noticed that I've been having a tough season. And by I mean my bot, which is playing my account. It just really had a tough time this season so far. So I don't know as far as the numbers, if there are fewer people playing in Wild or fewer accounts rather playing in Wild, if the competition is stiffer. I don't know what the reasoning is behind that, but I went several days consecutively not being able to get out of Diamond 2. And after this match plays, we'll be able to see where I'm at now. But it's been a fight. So I have noticed that on that point. Daniel Guggen's in the house. Hopefully I didn't butcher your name. Welcome. Thanks for dropping by. I said, what's going down? And Gathering says my rating. Daniel says, just got into Atlas Earth. Love the videos, man. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I do put some time and effort into that. I'm enjoying playing the game as well. Been playing it for, looks like I won, and I got 736 glint out of that, and 3 3/4 SPS out of that. If you play Atlas Earth and don't play Splinterlands, basically these are things you can get out of playing the matches. You can get glint, which can be spent in the game to buy more cards. And then SPS is one of the tokens that you use in the game. So that's what that is. So, and then I lost one. So it looks like I've been winning, losing, winning, losing. And it looks like I am in the middle of Diamond 1. Working on that, but there was like several days in a row where I just could not, my account just could not get out of Diamond 2. And back to Daniel's point, yes, I have been enjoying, and I've been doing a lot of Atlas Earth coverage lately as far as news and stuff that's going on, and not really strategy, because I've got something going on behind the scenes. Except for you run this double-edged sword when you're doing videos on Atlas Earth, because if you are trying to do a strategy and make it happen for yourself, you don't really necessarily want to broadcast that so people who may be playing around you see your strategy and catch wind of it. So, but with that said, here in a couple weeks, I'll have a really cool video coming out where I expound on my strategy and what I've been doing lately. But I have been keeping everybody up to date because there's been a lot of progress in Atlas Earth. If you didn't check out my video last night, they've went live in like 7 or 8 different countries this year so far. And this past week and a half, they went live in Germany and France. I'm pretty excited to see what is a relatively small game run by a small team really move forward in a large way during the year. So, okay, let's see what else is going on. The People's Guild's in the house. Welcome. Always enjoy listening to your podcasts. Ankh12C is here. Says hello. Gathering says, but still forging ahead and picking up some hard-earned glint. Yeah, sometimes some days you get on and it's just you win one, you lose one. You win one, you lose four. You know, that kind of day. You know, so KGM Jams in the house. Right up front, I want to say thank you to KGM and Gathering. They are recent super chat givers. If you're uncertain about if you want to help out the channel, just send a super chat, like and subscribe, all that. I do appreciate it. It helps me keep the lights on, so to speak. Keeps me making videos. Let's see here. Onk12 says Onk12C says that it's 1:30 a.m. in Sydney. So Onk is coming from the land down under, and I really appreciate everybody stopping by. But if you stop by the live stream and it is the middle of the night or the middle of the morning in this case for you, I really appreciate your time. That is always glad to hear and see you stop by and hear what you have to say. The People's Guild says politics, schmolitics. I'm abstaining from it all. Yeah, I just wanted to put that up front because in the last few weeks there's been a little edgy there, and I just wanted to say it right up front. This live stream and this channel is about gaming, and I primarily started out playing Splinterlands, but I've kind of went to a lot of different games on the Hive blockchain and other chains since then. And you know, Atlas Earth isn't even really, it isn't a Web3 game. It's a mobile game, but it's play to earn, so it kind of fits in that same philosophy. Having a great time there because I'm making pretty good money off of really just putting my time into it, right? Rooney207 is here. Welcome. Thanks for dropping by. Jobby Saints is here. Hi. And if you can tell me what TV show that's from, let me know in the comments. You get extra points. What those points are good for, who knows? But let's see here. The Chooney's in the house. Haven't seen the Chooney in a while. Welcome. Good morning, everyone. Major proposal looming for the DAO. Yeah, I knew that was going to come up, right? Major talking point this week. I listened to a live stream from Aftersound on this topic, and you know, I was going to put out a video on it, but I just, yeah, I didn't. For the sake of, I don't want to say being negative, because obviously I want to see the game move forward. But when you hear news, and if we can take a look at it. If anybody's interested in talking about it, we can go over here. It's under the draft proposals, and I'm assuming you're talking about the Cryptomancer one. And basically, this is it's asking everybody if you want to go ahead and take Cryptomancer's paycheck and start charging it to the DAO. Basically, put right. And have him work. He's going to be the sole person working on land expansion. So we can talk about that if you want, because I have a pretty firm opinion on that. Let's see here. I'm just catching up with chat before we stray off and start picking a topic here. Paul Taylor's in the house. Welcome. Thanks for dropping by, Paul. The Chooney says, at the People's Guild, what's up? Tuning back in for now with these new asks for the DAO. Seems like we are getting close to some tough decisions. I would agree, and we can talk about that. Daniel says, I hope that strategy works well for you. Back on the Atlas Earth strategy. Yeah, I'm crossing my fingers. And you'll see a major video come out, and I'll put like a big blasting headline because you'll be like, what? He did what? And I'm not even trying to be fake about that and be like clickbait or anything, but I've got something going on, and that's the reason why you haven't seen a video about what I've been doing lately as far as my personal account. My personal account has been kind of staying steady for a while, and I've got a purpose behind that, and we'll see if it works out. Should be fairly interesting if it does. So the People's Guild says, it's definitely go time, Choon. Great to see you back, despite the challenging circumstances. Be the reason for you coming back, amigo. Rooney207 says, Fat Albert, you are wrong as far as guessing where hi comes from. If you were a teenager in the 80s, the early 80s, you would get this. And if nobody guesses it by the end of the show, somebody remind me and I will tell you. It was a sitcom. I'll give you that much, you know. So, the Chuny rerun cannot remember the show. Yeah, you're right. You've got the right character. Jabby Saint says, watching from the Philippines, another place on the other side of the world where much different time zone. So my hat's off. My proverbial hat, since I don't have a hat on right now, don't wear hats indoors, but my proverbial hat is off for those who drop by in the middle of the night or morning. So appreciate it. Let's see. What's up, fellas? And I know that's Bolts85 coming in. Probably the most high energy person that I view on YouTube on a weekly basis. Rooney207 says, at the Chuny, it's been a bit. Hope all is well. Bolt says, did anyone attend the DAO meeting? I did not. Because I'm just going to throw this out there, and you can say about me what you will, but I like the game, and I like from the gaming standpoint and from the Web3 standpoint, but I'm getting tired of just like, I was thinking about this when I was taking a shower this morning. It's like there's another set of something to worry about. I worry about my family and my friends as far as how your finances are doing and everything. And then I worry about stuff at work as far as how my job's doing. And then I come home and I have to worry about how the game I'm playing is doing. So it all gets a bit much. And I agree, it's good talking points, you know. And this overall, I think, is what attracts a lot of us, is that this was a grand experiment, or it's a grand experiment in what I think is the future of games. Well, it's the present of games because we're doing it right now, but it's how, and I think a lot of players who play Web3 games think about it this way, that this is the way games should evolve. But, and by that I mean have DAOs, and if you're not familiar with Web3, if you're joining from the subset of new users that I have, or viewers from Atlas Earth, the DAO is an authority that's set up with Web3 type games, and it's kind of the money part of the game, and there's a lot more to it. But if you have money or tokens invested in the Web3 game you're playing, then you have voting rights within that DAO. And when there are big choices to make within how the money is used, and we're not talking about primary development of the game, we're talking about the money part. When there are choices to be made, the people that have stake in the game or have tokens that they've bought, and it represents an amount of money they've spent and invested in the game, they can vote on certain matters, okay, and express how they feel when those matters come up. And it's called a governance proposal. So a lot of different games, the Web3 style, have these DAOs, and they work independently from the company. And there's a lot of, this is a big rabbit hole we could go down in, and I'm not even an expert on it. I just wanted to kind of give a top layer because we have two groups of players, and I'm glad to see everybody come in and discuss whatever game you want to talk about. But I kind of like everybody to know what we're talking about here. So let's see, the Chuny says, well, let's see here. I'm trying to catch up with chat. Caveman Cannabis says, I can't wait to see what Atlas Earth avatar customizations do look like looking forward to. Great update video. Yeah, that was something interesting I had picked out of Reddit. Reddit? It was either Reddit or Discord day or two ago when I was just reading through it. It was interesting to me because it's something that people talk about once in a while. Hey, you know, in Atlas Earth, you just got like this little astronaut man as your character. There's really nothing you can do with it. But the question has been, you know, just like we have been talking about in They talk about this in most games, skins, basically, making your character look differently, and we're talking about the same type of thing in Splinterlands, whereas, buying skins to make your cards look different. It's the idea, and we're all familiar with this. Any game you play online, really, even if it's a first-person shooter, they make tons of money from selling skins. Well, in this game, they were talking about the idea of being able to customize your avatar, which seems very basic. It seems like a very basic idea that could be implemented relatively easy. But as we know, especially in Splinterlands, we've been fighting this as well. When you have a small development team, you have to concentrate and focus your development efforts on specific upgrades to the game and what is more important to you. And in Atlas Earth, they've been expanding to many different countries in the last year. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes, and they've made a lot of updates as well. But I agree, it would be interesting to be able to customize your character. And somebody else had put a comment on the video from yesterday, is it would be nice if that customization could also be treated to give you a bonus, kind of like the legendary parcel upgrade does. You pay a certain amount, you get a parcel upgrade to legendary, but you also get that skin. Maybe that could be used on the character as well. But other than just looking different, it actually gives you a bonus in game. Of course, you'd have to pay for it, and that profit would go to the company, but interesting idea nonetheless. It is not Good Times. Gathering and Paul guessed Good Times. Good Times is primarily the late 70s. I'm in all this due to the gray beard, right? This was in the 80s primarily. And I'll give you another hint. It had a spin-off. It had a secondary version of it as well. So, oh, People's Guild. Got it right. What's Happening. Yep. Because they had What's Happening, then they had What's Happening Now. It was just a sitcom I liked back in the day, right? Probably my favorite episode, and I don't remember a lot of episodes, but I remember the one where the Doobie Brothers were in it because I love the Doobie Brothers. But that was it. Getting way off track here, but Caveman Cannabis. Can you imagine if WoW went Web3? That'd be tough. We're seeing a lot more Web3 games pop up that, well, the quality of the games are getting better. But I will mention that the quality of the games seem to be, the better quality ones seem to be copies. Like, I hate to mention it, but this last one I was looking at, I was participating in the beta. I have to look over to remember the name. Seraph in the Darkness. It was a pretty much copy of Diablo 3, right? And then there's this other game that I've been looking forward to, which is, I'll pull this over so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Pulsar. If you all like, if anybody likes, StarCraft, this seems to be pretty much a ripoff of StarCraft. But I'm going to be playing this to check this out because while I'm not great at StarCraft 2, I love StarCraft. So, and I have to look into, they are selling the starter packs, which is interesting. I don't know anything about the tokenization on this, but it did come across my radar this last week. So it's one of those ones I'll be looking at. What are we? Oh, okay. So let's go on, see what everybody's talking about here. So I'm always keeping out there looking for new games. I did look at the games. Somebody had brought up, I was looking for my piece of paper with the name of the games on it. Somebody had brought, Off the Grid. I remember it. Somebody was talking about that last week. I looked it up, and it's a first-person shooter. And I'm not great at first-person shooters. So it didn't really interest me. So that was the other one I looked into this week. A lot of people are having good things to say about it. So if you are interested in a Web3 version of a first-person shooter kind of thing, look at Off the Grid. let's see. Rooney207 says Steam Monsters Incorporated should strengthen its financials and stop rating the SPS DAO. Also, land is SOP DAO. It's not SPS DAO. Yeah, that's a good division there. Okay, so I'm just going to come out and say it, and y'all can hit me with what you think of what I'm saying. And this is this is kind of what Aftersound said in his live stream on the topic as well. But, you know, I'm a landholder. I'm not a huge landholder. I've got 14 plots, but they're fully staked out. And that represents a lot of money to me, right? But at the same time, I can definitely logic in the back of my brain, or wherever the logic center in your brain is, tells me that if we don't get the game itself squared away, and squared away relatively soon, so that it is bringing in new players, land won't matter. Okay? And the reason I say that is every interaction I've seen with Cryptomancer has shown me, and all the news I've heard about him shows me that he's a good quality developer. Okay? And I have nothing against Cryptomancer. And I voted yes for this proposal, right? But that doesn't mean that just seeing this proposal makes me worry. And I had all these side thoughts going on while I was listening to the conversation, and they hit on a lot of them. So I'm not trying to copy, but a lot of these side thoughts, such as when this proposal goes out, man, this kind of looks bad for the game, right? Are we going to have people that want to invest in the game when they see this? Because they keep going back to the DAO for money. And I understand that if the game goes under, there's going to be no reason for the DAO, or no purpose for it. So yeah, helping out the game to move along makes logical sense. But my main point is, I think that if they go ahead and pay him from the DAO, that he should help them square away the game itself. Officially, you know, land has been on the back burner, but officially say, until we get this game squared away, until we get the new user and whole user experience squared away, we get some marketing going on, and we get some people coming in the doors, eagerly playing the game, then we talk about land again. But then I start thinking about, well, does that start landholders selling off at ultra cheap prices, right? These are all thoughts that I've had whenever I was listening to this conversation, right? So there it is, for better or worse. Okay, let's catch up with chat. The Chuny says, agree, Bronze Dragon. We all should remember that the DAO is independent and has many options. The DAO has positions that can be used to gain attention. Types up a comment on one of the Aftersound videos, and he picked it up. It's definitely not the only option, but Aftersound made a video about the comment which surprised me. I try to look at things logically. And if I have, you know, for better or for worse, sometimes it's the worst part, and sometimes I get dogged on for, you know, being the salty bear, so to speak, the old term. But that's all right. If somebody says, Bronze Dragon, you're too logical, I take that as a compliment, right? The Chuny says it's definitely not the only option. I just read that. Rooney207 says Splinterlands needs to have financial clarity and needs to get their crap together quickly. I would agree, but I also think that this is the clarity compared to other normal Web 2 games is very clear. It's just they talk about and they discuss like everything, and some things get discussed ad nauseum, right? I can see your point, though. there's a lot of things that they need to clear up as far as what they're going to do. But I think they need to focus, use all the developers they have, and focus on getting this game in a position where they can advertise it and get new people walking in. Because like I said, if we don't get new people walking in the door to play the game, then land is not going to matter, you know. So Bolts says, in my opinion, just a thought, I would put some money from the DAO towards a miner to mine Bitcoin. I don't know about that. Rooney207 says, not that I have anything against Bitcoin, right? But Rooney207 says, new players don't want to hear the game owner's constant ask for money and resources from its player base. I will agree with that. Wholeheartedly. The Chuny says, at Bolts85, how about the DAO just buy some Bitcoin rather. I'm pretty sure they already have some Bitcoin. I'm not sure about the division of assets that's in the DAO currently. They've got other people working, and I'm the last person that you want to hear talking about assets and stuff like that, because I mean, it's not that it bores me, but it's, you know, I like the gaming part of it better. And I do like the land part of it, but the land part of it has just kind of stalled out. And, you know, Caveman says, I think every time I say your name, Caveman Cannabis, I think of Captain Caveman. Another cartoon I loved back in the day in the 80s, and that loud sound effect. It's like they always say you can't hear a graphic, but if you see him shouting with the big bubble around it saying Captain Caveman, you can hear it in your head if you've ever watched that cartoon. And if you haven't, go after this show, go and find Captain Caveman on YouTube shouting, and you'll know what I mean. Anyway, Caveman says, I think the first thing they will do will be to customize your hat. That'll be interesting, that whole hat discussion, because on the screen where you see your character or your account information, they have these hats, which represent basically how many parcels you have. You know, 1 to 100, you get a certain hat, 100 to 200, and so forth. And that's kind of just a graphical way to show you how many parcels you have. So it'd be interesting, but I like the whole skin idea and sell it. Okay, so it's 2,500 or whatever it is, and you get, I don't know, something on your character. But, and I've always said this in Splinterlands too, if I'm going to buy a skin, there has to be a bonus. There has to be some kind of bonus that I'm going to get to, there was a topic somebody was talking about the other day about cards with a skin on it to bonus to land for your harvest and land. Or in this game, in Atlas Earth, it would be a bonus to your overall rent income, right? So interesting idea, though. Bolt85 says, there are many companies that provide mining services if the DAO decides not to buy Bitcoin or mine. Somebody with a much more logical financial brain would have to comment on that. I know where to comment and where not to comment. Because if one thing's shown me over my lifetime of buying stocks once in a while, it's like I always pick the wrong time to buy. So, and I did mine. I mined primarily not Bitcoin, but I mined different other currencies and Ethereum for quite a long time. So I know what you're talking about. It's just I don't know what the situation is. I haven't mined since Ethereum went proof of stake a few years ago. So I don't know what the current situation in the atmosphere is. I do know that there are overall mining services that you can rent out hardware on basically, I don't want to say infrastructure as a service. I don't know what the proper term is, but you're renting out their hardware on the cloud to mine for you. The Chuny says, Jesus is just all right with me is their best. I think that the Doobies, they're one of those bands which they had so many hits that it's just, they're just a great band, you know. Yeah, they are eternally on my playlist. So let's see here. Caveman says, I've been looking at cornucopias. Is that a new game? I'm unaware of that. Have to look into it. In fact, I usually put my notepad up so that when people mention new games, I can add it to my list of things to look at this coming week. Okay, let's go on now. Let's see here. Rooney207 says, the best game period, no matter Web 2 or Web 3, off the grid. Microsoft is pushing these behind the scenes. That's interesting. I mean, I keep hearing good things about it, right? And as far as I know, I believe it is available on console as well. And it's getting pushed. It's got a lot of money behind it. And I'm not going to say I'm not going to try it, but I'm just not great at first-person shooters. I used to like to play the Call of Duties back when they were in World War II. Loved that era. But when they went modern and all the modern shooters out there, I understand that we hit this wall, I think, where the gaming companies see what's popular. People love first-person shooters, right? But there's so many out there. I mean, and if you're a guy like me, I'll try it out. I mean, give my legitimate opinion on it, but I've got to be upfront and say I'm not typically a first-person shooter guy. I don't have the reflexes I did when I was a kid, right? And a lot of these games I end up playing and just end up dying over and over again. So I'm like, yeah, screw that, you know. So either way, it'll be interesting to look at from the Web 3 point of view. And wow, that was a loud couple motorcycles that just went by. Rattled the windows. But you know what I've been noticing? This is kind of a side comment. There have been a lot of Web 3, technically Web 3 games coming out of Korea and China, possibly China, Hong Kong, lately. And there's a few that fit into that idea that I've been playing that are primarily gacha style games. And if you know what I'm talking about, they're games that have a lot of purchases involved, right? And then within the game, there are so many tokens that fall under the quote unquote Web 3 part of them. It gets completely confusing. And I think, and I'm not usually a conspiracy guy, but I think that that's done on purpose. Because these, when you look at them as on a whole, yeah, I'm having fun playing the game. But then when you look at it from the other aspect is, should I put money into the game? Then you're like, you know, this seems like they're really trying to take advantage of me, overly complicating it and making it confusing. So people are dumping money in. And then after they've dumped the money in, they're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. So just because a game is Web 3, look about 5 times and understand how you're putting your money in before you put your money in. So that's what I'm saying. Be logical. Blackwater. Yeah, I agree. In fact, when my daughter was very young, that was one of her favorite songs. And when I picked her up from school in like first, second grade, she always wanted me to play Blackwater from the Doobies. And we always sang along to it. You got to sing to it. How can you not play Blackwater and not sing to it? If you all don't know Blackwater by the Doobies, put it on your homework list after this show. Go check it out and listen to it and put it on good speakers or good headphones. So not crappy ones. Okay, let's see. We're at the top of the hour now. Let's see what else is going on in chat. The Chuny says, inflation is a top-line problem with what has happened, and the Dow needs to hedge against that. Okay, I agree. Bolt 85 says, slap a gold foil strip with a Splinterlands logo. Oh, as far as a hat. It would be interesting to get an interplay. I don't think it would ever happen, but interplay between Atlas Earth and other different types of games like Splinterlands or some other IP, where there's a noted, Marvel or something like that, Star Wars, something like that. It'd be interesting. Same thing with Splinterlands, although Splinterlands has tried that a few times and it's not exactly worked out as well for them. Gathering says not into shooter games. Yawn. Rooney207 says at Caveman, Cornucopias is really good. Well, I'll have to check it out. If you guys say it's good, I'll look into it. Minecraft. I'm not into... I lived through the whole 8-bit period. And it was great when it was happening, right? It was great when the graphics got slowly better. Man, my first computer monitor was CGA. It just had like 3 colors on it. And I've been playing games ever since that day. And the little 8-bit and then 16-bit characters, they were great for the day. But yeah, I try to play those low-res video games these days, and I just cannot get into them because the graphics has come so far. And I know there's a lot to be said, but graphics don't make the game, because there's plenty of games that look beautiful, but there are crap games. I understand that. There's a lot more to a good game than that. But I just can't get into Minecraft. I see even a developer remade EverQuest in Minecraft, or it's called Evercraft. So it's EverQuest, but it's in Minecraft. And I love EverQuest. Was one of my all-time greatest games, right? I love that, but I just couldn't get into it. Either way. Let's see here. Caveman says, oh, and I got AE Travel to work. Hilton Hotels, pet friendly, verified. Nice. Yeah, if you can get that to work and you have to travel frequently, in Atlas Earth, there's a travel program where you can go in and schedule your travel, and then as long as you use your linked credit card to pay for that travel, then you get the matching amount. So you pay, $1,500 for hotel and whatever, then you get 1,500 Atlas bucks, and they match it. And there's other deals as well, kind of like that other deal where you go to restaurants and stuff. It works very similar. I've heard good things about it. I've heard people had problems making it work, but it's good. It sounds like it working for you. I think it's one of those things that once you figure out how to make it work, you can use it to your best advantage. It's kind of like getting miles, but if you linked a credit card where you get miles off of anyway, it's double dipping. So you can get your Atlas bucks and your miles or whatever and use it for other things. So that's like going to your local restaurants and stuff and using the Amped program in Atlas Earth. And I can go to a few of my local restaurants. If I go to Salad Works, I get 4 times Atlas bucks. So if I buy my wife, I, and my daughter a salad, and then I get 4 times. So if I spend, $50 on salads, then I get 200 Atlas bucks, right? Which, that's 2 more parcels of land, right? It all helps out. But you can double dip, because if that place also, and I've mentioned this on videos, but if that place also has their separate app where they give you points, then you can get their points plus the Atlas bucks. So just a little free tip there. Okay, let's see what else is going on. Yeah, I know a lot of people love Minecraft, but I'm not one of them. Let's see here. Rooney207 says, it's coming. Xbox and PlayStation games are coming to Web3. Yeah, they are slowly. And I've also noticed, what was I talking about? Oh, it was Golem Overlord. Golem Overlord, Yixon, who is the creator and as far as I know, sole developer on this release last week, that he has a mobile app. It's on Android now, and it's a Web3 game. And currently he has the app in the iOS. It hasn't been approved yet, as far as I know. If I'm wrong, if there's some new news, somebody let me know, but it hasn't been approved yet. But you've got an app. You've got one guy. He made an app. He submitted it to the Android store, the Google Play Store, and the iOS store. It's still in approval process. One guy. One guy. One guy. Did I say that? One guy. That is the development team. And he's got an app. Okay, I'll leave that there. Alex T. Every time I move this chat, it kind of flips around. Sorry, I'm behind. I'm way behind. I get talking and my financial journey's in the house. Welcome. Alex T says a digital TCG spending over $1 million in salary is crazy. Yeah, that's it. That's huge. Am I right in saying that Microsoft's behind that? Somebody had said Microsoft. Bolts85 says buying the Java version and playing along the Holmes Boy Axler Twin Blade. Yeah, I've been following along with what he's been doing once in a while. The Chuny says interjecting Bitcoin could get us some headlines and attention for free, which would bring in new players. Interesting idea. Gathering says new player experience has to have a PvE mode to succeed. Yeah, I agree. We've talked about this before. There has to be a way people can get in, learn the game, start playing through a somewhat story mode, and then that drags them into improving their deck and buying things within the game, cards, etc. And then be able to, I like PvE modes. I understand it takes a different set of, it's a different workload to build that out, but I agree. In all games I play, it's got to have a PvE mode. That's just me. Okay. Onk12C says, I have 47 lands, including 6 keeps and a castle. Wow, that's huge. And I feel for it. Obviously you've really went all in on land, and now land is on the back burner. So I'm discussing it lightly, but I understand. But I still say my point on this guy's going to beat me. Yeah, he's got me beat. My point on is if the game doesn't succeed, their land isn't out, unless they spin off land to a separate game or something like that. And kind of break the game in half. So I'm a loser on this one. Unless they separate the two parts of the game. I don't necessarily know if land could run as a separate game. That's a whole nother discussion, but I just had that idea. But it would be rough to spend that much money on a game and then have the development team say, it's on the back burner. I agree with that. Gathering says, an easy PvE mode to ease new players in is the only way the game grows, thrives. Yeah, I think that one of the chief walls we have here is that you get in and you start playing and you just start getting beat, and then you get turned off by the game and you just leave, so maybe if there was a PvE mode and it just slowly interjected and introduced you to different play mode or different game types, different powers and abilities on the cards. At this point, we've got so many powers and so many abilities and so many game types that it's hard to learn. It's the learning curve just keeps going up, right? And that could serve as a turnoff to some people. We've talked about that before. My financial journey says, I know I'm way behind. I'm sorry. I'm not keeping up with the chat. I get off on these tangents and start talking. My financial journey says, in my opinion, land already doesn't matter. They sold the plots back in 2021. I don't care how good the game supposedly is. It has taken 3 to 4 years of development and it's still practically useless. Valid point. I mean, they got the money and where to go. Alex T says, it's too late to pack the DAO with Bitcoin. Gathering says, land equals free daily DEC. For those who don't follow, Gathering selling off his grain and making some DEC. I'm just kind of stacking it. But I've got everything evened out to where I'm increasing my SPS intake on a daily basis to where it kind of matches what grain I am bringing in. So I do have a surplus, but not that much. Rooney says, land will constantly continue to kill the game long term. Steam Monsters Incorporated needs to segregate land like Soulkeep. Players need to wake up and understand this difference. I agree with that point. I agree that land has been bringing down the game. They've had to focus certain amounts of effort from the development team and certain amounts of money from the development team to be able to try to keep land going, which if it was focused mainly on the game, which the game might be ahead of where it is now. That's why the idea is maybe it needs, I mean, that's a valid idea. It goes back to what I was saying earlier. Maybe, I don't know. I do know that they need to focus on getting the game squared away, because without the game, then where's land? It's nowhere. It's nowhere land. My financial journey says there is nothing free about land. You're right there. There's nothing free. You've paid for it. In fact, it's the price of what you pay for each land is minuscule compared to the rest of the stuff you put into it. Like if you go over here and you buy one plot of land here for $11.95 in Shadow Vale off of Fighter for Freedom, that's just minuscule compared to the rest of the money. The DEC you got to stake on it, the cards you got to put on it and everything. So the Toonie says, at Alex T could get us free headlines marketing too. About the Bitcoin discussion. Gathering says, I should say passive DEC. Yeah, that's a better way to put it. My financial journey says, I get more passive DEC from battling than I do off my 3 plots. Fair enough. And I think it goes back to the point we've been discussing over the last couple of weeks. If you were new to the game and you were thinking about buying land just to mine SPS, your better choice is probably just to buy the SPS because it's much cheaper right now. I don't even know what's going for, but it's cheaper overall just to go ahead and buy SPS to stake, which helps you out in the playing the game, bringing more in. But let's see. It's been rocky a little bit over the last week. It went up, and I think that it started to go down when they put that proposal out because, the proposal looks kind of bad, right? So I'm just checking out where we're at here. Gathering the Magic says, you don't get instant DEC from battles. That's correct. You have to sell your, SPS. Jabby Saints said, they say that there is a possibility for the DAO to own the game when the company goes bankrupt. I don't know. I don't know anything. That would be an interesting conversation because the way I've always felt about it is if the game goes under, the DAO's sitting there with this money. What happens to the money? Obviously, if the game goes under, then all our NFTs and everything are worth nothing really, right? Is it possible for another developer to pick up the game and continue work on it? I don't have answers to all these. I have a lot of questions, but not many answers. Excuse me. I'm getting a little bit hoarse. Alex T says it would have worked 6 months ago. Worked well at that point because of the fluctuation of Bitcoin. I like your idea to swap everything for Bitcoin, but Matt sees the DAO Bank as a secondary pool of money for the team. It does seem that way because we've seen him ask for money from the DAO. I don't know, 3rd time now? I don't know. Bolts says all Splinterlands proposals need to be cleaned up and adjusted accordingly by Claiborne. Claiborne payroll raised to $50K. Alex T says land was a cool idea, but clearly they can't deliver. The problem is that they have a massive spending problem. Cryptomancer is really good, but Splinterlands, the company, can't afford him. Rooney207 says the biggest challenge with Bitcoin is it doesn't provide passive income and relies on the growth. That is BlackRock saying, not me, saying this is where Ethereum, Sol, etc. comes in. Bolts85 says there is this fella who is very skilled who is trying to reach Yabamat but is ignored, I guess. Yeah, I've tried to talk to Matt a few times, not a lot, because I realize he's got a lot going on. But there's been a couple times I've tried to ping him over the years, and I never get a reply. So I've given up. My Financial Journey says, with the speed of development in Splinterlands, I question how anybody thinks any of the devs are good. Yeah, I'll leave that there. Meta Guy for land development. Alex T says JP and team is 500K, Mancer is 180K, and Clay is 40K. That's 3 people over 700K a year salary. The game doesn't make that. Caveman Cannabis says maybe incorporating mini goals in the game that allow you to use Atlas bucks to add a customization, such as giving you a reason to max your passport. Valid idea. Now, they did say that they're going to have a secondary, they're going to put 2 new systems into the game. One is going to be a secondary subscription model, kind of like the Explorer Club, but much less price. And then the other thing that's going into the game is, like we were discussing as far as a PvE mode, this is like a daily quest type of thing that they're going to put into the game, which will yield, whatever they want to give away for achieving those daily quests, which some of them could be, have to do with customization of your character. Valid point. Gathering says, get Yixen to hire Yixen for land. Wow. I've got to agree with that. If he could wrap his head around and like the and want to jump into that, because Yixen has completely impressed me with his development speed on Golem Overlord. So if you're not familiar with this, Golem Overlord is a game on the Hive blockchain developed by one guy. As far as I know, he's a guy. Could be a girl. I don't know. Alex T says, it's simple math. Splinterlands, the company, is going to fail. That's probably why Matt wants to push validators so much, because he knows they are cooked, and it's the only way to keep the game going. The game. That's another thing we haven't talked about for a while. All these people bought validator nodes, paid good money for them, and they're just kind of floating around out there. I mean, they're still earning off them, but... Rooney207 says, Japan is now the top Web3 developer, followed by South Korea, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Thailand. Does not surprise me at all. But I've got to say that while they make beautiful games, a lot of, I'm lumping them all into this one. You know what I don't like is I don't like the gacha aspect of the game. Over there, the gamers are much different than we are in the United States and other places. So I don't really appreciate the pop-ups and the, you got to buy this, you got to buy this, you got to buy this, you got to buy this. I don't have a problem. Like I said, I've put probably $10,000 into Splinterlands. I don't have a problem in putting money into a game, and I can logically see what that money's going to get me. It's going to get me new cards or whatever, characters or whatever it is. But I don't like feeling like, they're just trying to bombard me with all this stuff and confuse me into spending money and taking advantage of me. I don't like that aspect. But I will say a lot of the games that I've played have been beautiful games, right? I'm trying to remember one. I'm looking for the app now. Night Crows. Let's see if I can bring up Night Crows. Okay, this is a game I played probably last year in the fall. Okay, this is another game that I played, and it's a beautiful game. It has very similar style graphics to Black Desert Online like this. And the gaming was nice. You can play it on an iPad, you can play it on your iPhone or any phone, you can play it on Android, you can play it on your PC, and it's a standard MMO, but it's a grind fest, and there's the tokenization to it is very gotcha game style. So I stopped playing it. Not that it's a bad game; it's a fun game to play, but I played it for, I don't know, I probably put several hundred hours into it, and it's like it wants you to leave your computer on at all times to have your character grinding and everything. So it was eating up a lot of electricity, so I stopped playing it. Okay. Rooney207 says US is very low on the Web3 developer list. Bolts85 says, yep, Alex T has been calling them out. We just over here look at the new tab with the font on it. Yeah, I see what you mean. The point there is not a whole lot has changed in the game. The graphics are upgraded a little bit, and to be fair, the UI work is makes it easier to view on a mobile device in the mobile browser. Although I still stand by my statement that they need a mobile app. I know, different argument, but the mobile gaming community worldwide dwarfs that of PCs, So a lot more people have a phone to play a game on than have a PC. Caveman Cannabis says, have you tried or understand how to play the other Atlas reality games? I have not. I saw that they have another big game that is maybe a little bit bigger than Atlas Earth, but I have not played it. And I don't believe that it's play to earn. So that's probably the reason why. The Chuny says, at Alex T, why should go down with the ship too? The Dow looks like an oligarch, though, in my opinion. Alex T says, I've been rebalancing. I'm keep about 1 million SPS and around 3,000 to 5,000 Chaos Legion packs. That's a lot. The Dow can keep on if we don't spend all the money in trying to catch a falling knife. But my question is, what good is the Dow if the game fails? What can it be used for? The Chuny says that Alex T agree, but the decision point for where that is a few hands. Fingers crossed. Caveman says, I paid $200 for one night and got almost 1,500 Atlas bucks. Nice. Getting prepared for a Cat Fest Denver next month. I also have Hilton Honors and a Lyft reward program. Nice. Taking advantage. Triple dipping. Alex T says, I actually think that the game can continue on too, but they need to really cut the team salaries. 180K for Mancer is wild. I can't even imagine how much Nate and Gator are making. If it's over 120K, we are cooked. And this is another thing that I hate as a result of how this is going about. And then everybody's talking about everybody's paycheck. And, it doesn't really matter whether I agree or disagree, right? We'll go with whatever the vote is. But I think that if he is hired on by the Dow, then he needs to help the main game out first versus concentrating on land. I think that projects come along a lot more efficiently when you've got a team working on them versus just like one person. Rooney207 says, Steam Monsters Incorporated needs to look at game development costs these days. Games are coming to Ronin on a 40K budget. That's a very good point. I haven't looked into the budget of these games. I do know some of them are going out the gate with a lot of money behind them, like these bigger companies. I think that Microsoft and other big companies are starting to dabble, and they're giving a few of these games a chance. And some of them you have to dig around a little bit to see who's actually funding them, because Microsoft or the bigger companies might be like, I want to try this out and see how it works, but we don't want our names plastered all over the main headlines, right? Should it, go under or fail or something. I lost my hedgehog. What a name. Welcome. That's a new name I haven't seen before. Welcome to the stream. So I have 100 parcels, 10% boost from Passport, and 15% boost as a UK player. So do I get 10% on my 100 parcels, then 15% boost on the 100 parcels plus the 10% boost, or does every boost just? You just get the flat. If you've got a 15%, I'm just reading your quote again, your question again, just to make sure. 10% boost from the Passport and 15% boost. So there are two boosts you get, and two different things we're talking about. Okay, so the Passport boost, it's a flat boost. You know, you get 5, 10, 15% boost, 20, 25% boost. It's across the board. That boost, whatever is your highest rating, you get the 15% boost as your highest rating. That goes to your rent at all times. That has nothing to do with whether you're boosted with the little button and watching the ad or not. That's just straight boost to your rent at all times, which is better than nothing, right? That's the incentive to the badges. And it's flat. So if you're at 15%, it's flat across your whole rent. So it doesn't have really anything to do with the amount of parcels you have, because the amount of parcels and the rarity equal the rent you're getting on a minute by minute basis. And then that boost is applied to that at all times. So I hope that answers your question. Caveman Cannabis says, the issue with trying to get people interested in any Web3 play-to-earn game is they assume it's a pyramid scheme type of misplay fakes. Yeah, I agree. When you go outside of, and I know we're at the bottom of the hour, we got a lot of discussion here, but I've kind of keep within my community of Web3 type gamers. But once you get out that side of that, there's a huge... Web3 has a bad name to typical gamers, I think. And there's another big game house on the scene creating, I don't know if you guys caught this, but EVE Online, the company that makes EVE Online, CCP, is now developing a Web3 game for them too, which I'm interested in because I've been playing EVE on and off for years as well. So good point. Rooney207 says Steam Monster Incorporated needs to study its first principles. I'd have to go back and look those up to tell you the truth. Alex T says the problem with land is VetV is super heavy in land, and I'm pretty sure he said it will cut land. He's out. If they cut land, he's out. Yeah, that's one of my side thoughts. You know, when they started talking about that, if they completely just kind of say, okay, we're done with land for now, we're not going to work on it for the next year or whatever, then there are going to be people that are heavy in land who are typically people who are heavy in land are heavy in the rest of the game as well, that might sell off their land and sell off everything and just completely get out of the game. So it's a balancing act, right? I agree, and that's one of the side thoughts I had as well. Not specifically with Vet, but anybody, you know, who is heavy in that land. Bolt says, end of the day, without land, Splinterlands will just be another TCG game. And he says, game over. Rooney says, with land, it's a guarantee game over. So someone needs to pick the options and go forward. Bolt says, change name to Splinter Battles. Alex T says, why are we calling these developers good? They couldn't deliver land in 3 years. Why are we paying them? Yeah. I can't even dive into that right now. But he's got a point. Bolts says, Dow needs to hire its own land developer and they will pay top dollar for a high quality output. So what if land is spun off, just kind of like the other games were spun off? I don't know. That's just kind of a question in the back of my head. Rooney says Dow hiring Steam Monsters Incorporated staff is a mistake. Any outside consultant will point out if that same team can't succeed before, why now? Alex T says we need validators up so we can fire Matt and his team. They have proven themselves to be incompetent. Who will take over then? Asks Gathering. Yeah, good question. Yeah, it was a harsh statement, but this is crazy. We need Nate. Bolt says we'll keep Nate as our team mascot. Bring back Aggie. Yeah. Well, it's the bottom of the hour, and we're running a little bit over, but I appreciate everybody stopping by. Please leave a like and subscribe if you're not subscribed. I do appreciate it. And I'll see you next week. I hope everyone has a good week, and I hope everyone on your side is happy and healthy. And hey, I'll see you in Splinterlands, or I'll see you in Atlas Earth, or whatever other game we're playing together. But I do appreciate your time. Have a good one.